In addition to research, another opportunity for students here is our student design teams. We've got a pretty vibrant student design team community, if you will. So I'm going to tell you about a few of those, and then we'll show some robot videos when we're done. So the team, one of the teams is the robotics team, or case robotics team. The team was founded in around 2012, or in 2012. Right now has about 45 active members, covering both mechanical engineering or electrical engineering and computer science. So of course, we're building a robot that's mechanical, and we're also controlling it. So there's a lot of computer science people there working on path planning and navigation type stuff. Right now, the team as a whole actually breaks up into 3 smaller teams in response to 3 different competitions. One's the National Robotics Mining Competition, which unfortunately I just heard today was canceled for this year because of the coronavirus. But that's where we go down. We build the robot you see here in the lower right picture is one of our first NASA mining robots that we built here. It's a 80-kilogram robot, so it's pretty heavy. It's about the size of a small table. You can see there. And we go down to the NASA Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex and compete usually in May. Trying to go out to in the arena. Go out to an area where we're allowed to dig, come back, past some obstacles, holes, and rocks, and then deposit that material. The National Robotics Challenge involves a bunch of smaller competitions. The robots tend to be considerably smaller, so more handheld type robots. Couple examples of the competitions might be a maze following robot, right? You're meant to navigate some maze and not touch the walls. So you have to use some sort of sonar or something to sense the walls. Or there might be one where you are allowed to touch the walls, so you have some sort of tactile sensor. And then another one's a sumo robot where your big fat robot tries to push somebody else's big fat robot out of the ring, out of some competition area. And then MATE stands for the Marine Advanced Technology Education. And that's so it's an underwater robot. It's a remotely operated vehicle, ROV. It's just submarine. This year actually is the last year was the first year we responded to the MATE ROV competition because we had so many people. Someone wanted to break off and do something new. And in their first year of competition, the team had a functional submarine, functional vehicle, scored 6th overall in the international competition, and received a special award for design elegance, I believe it was called. You were the Steve's first advisor, weren't you, Roger?
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was in 2012, I'm sitting at my desk, minding my own business, and some students came stumbling into my office, and they were freshmen, and they wanted to start a robotics club. And they were freshmen. I just couldn't get over that. I was staring at them thinking, why don't you get back to work and prove yourselves, in your classes, and then, like come back next year. But they were adamant, and they really wanted to do this. And I said, fine, I'll be your advisor. Good luck. And I helped them a bit. But more than anything, they did it on their own. These clubs are totally volunteer. And the students go out and get their own money. They do everything on their own. They recruit other students. So these freshmen recruited upperclassmen and even graduate students, and they actually had a functioning vehicle that very first year. It was amazing. And it's just grown since then.
All right. So as Dr. Quinn said, the teams are completely volunteer. Anybody can be on the team. You don't have to, you don't have to, take a test to be on the team or anything like that. You want to be on the team, show up as early as your first year or your first day here. In fact, the first week you're here, there'll be an activities fair where all the teams will be there showing their stuff. Now, I will say, of course, keep in mind, as a first-year student, your skills are limited. You may have some experience, you may not. That's fine. But they're happy to teach you. They work very hard at passing on, what's it called? I forget what it's called. Anyway, passing on, it's basically knowledge transfer, if you will. Passing on skills and knowledge to future generations of the team. But again, as a first-year student, you'll need to be persistent in showing up, sort of tagging along behind somebody, learning your stuff, and learning some skills to make yourself, useful.
Another thing, while Dr. Bachman was on the presentation, I'll point out that we were talking about ThinkBox. It turns out that they use students to do most of the paid help in ThinkBox are students, and they're typically mechanical aerospace engineering students. And so what happens is they essentially get the keys. So when it comes to often they're also on the clubs, so they actually get a really good opportunity to use ThinkBox facilities for these clubs.
So here are some details about the NASA the NASA team, we just call them. So in the upper left there, you see upper right there, you see the team standing with a robot from a couple of years ago in front of the competition. It's a arena that's surrounded by a tent because the material we're digging up is not very pleasant to breathe in. It's supposed to simulate a fine powder called regolith that's the soil on the moon and Mars. Anyway, the team, again, went to the competition for several years in a row, did okay, but then in 2018, we sort of started to turn things around, kicked it up a notch, if you will, placed third overall in 2018 and last year. We got first in the systems engineering paper back in 2017, and then third last year, and then second in our design presentation back in 2017, and fourth in autonomy last year. So made some significant improvements. One of the really cool things about the competition is the last day there's a banquet Friday evening, and it's held actually in the Kennedy Space Center, and it's under a Saturn V rocket. And there's a museum there, a bunch of space suits and other stuff that people have taken, the stuff that's left the planet and come back. It's kind of cool.
So I have a question.
Yes.
How many teams are there usually in this mining competition?
Oh, I think they're usually 50 teams. They have space to invite 50 teams. Now that might change in the future because actually, again, you see here, this is a temporary facility. It's an outdoor, ad hoc facility. They actually had a new facility built last year, but it wasn't built in time because of the government shutdown. We've had some bad luck the past couple of years, but we'll get back to it. It'll be okay. But yeah, so now they're building a new facility, a permanent facility, and I don't know if it'll be able to hold more teams or not. So, but currently, 50 is the number in the past.
And those are teams from all over the country.
All over the country, yes. Colorado School of Mines usually competes very well. University of Alabama competes very well, and they're from all over the country. There are a couple of local teams here, in addition to Case Western. Akron, I think, usually has a team, and Kent State usually has a team, and we sometimes collaborate with them. We go down there to test our robots, things like that. Another one of the teams is the Baja team. The Society of Automotive Engineers sponsors 3 Baja competitions throughout the season, throughout the school year. Usually, April, May, and June typically. This team was founded back in 2001. Currently has about 30 active members. Again, around 2016-17, we started to really, improve our game. Started taking it a bit more seriously. Had 2 top 10 overall finishes back in 2017. 2018 was more of a rebuilding year, if you will. Last year, got it back up to 11th and 13th overall finishes. Have had top 5 finishes in events and individual events since 2016, including first place in acceleration last year. So we're really excited about that. Had the fastest car in the country.
The regional competition, about how many teams are there usually?
100 teams per 100 teams per competition. So when I say events, and we'll cover that on the next page, there are what we call static events and dynamic events. So the competition schedule, Thursday you show up, you do a safety check, make sure the car is safe for the driver and for anybody else around it, all the other teams on the track. You do a design presentation and a sales presentation. I'm going to stop here and point out that all these teams that we have and the competitions they respond to, they don't just say, yeah, throw a rocket together and come on out, or throw a robot together and come on down. They really want you to follow good design practices, learn and follow good design practices, do actual analysis, have a reason for why this member of the robot is here, or why this member of the car is this size. And as such, they always have like I said, the NASA has what they call systems engineering paper. Here we've got a design presentation. There's always some part of the competition points that involve you showing your work and why you made the decisions you made, and that you weren't just making stuff up essentially. So,
And we're really proud that our teams almost universally do well in those design presentations, design competition
yes.
part.
Our teams do very well in those parts of the competition, in addition to other parts of the competition, but they usually do very well in those parts. Saturday is filled with dynamic events. There are usually 4 of them. There might be like a hill climb or an acceleration event, usually both of those. And then there's some sort of a suspension event or a suspension and traction. What's the other one? Maneuverability. Sort of how well does your car handle? What kind of suspension does it have? Because it's an off-road vehicle, so it should have good suspension. And then Sunday gets really fun because it's a 4-hour endurance race. So you're out on the track for 4 hours, make as many laps as you can. If your car breaks, it gets towed back to your trailer. You put it back together, get it back out there, make some more laps. So it's just it's a lot of fun. The rocket team, you saw a picture of one of their rockets on the front page. Here's one of their other rockets that was launching very nicely. They have about 20 active members. This year, they intend to go to this. Well, they had intended to go to the Spaceport America Cup. The goal of the competition is you're supposed to take a 9-pound payload to exactly 10,000 feet. So it's not just past. You can't just shoot on past, and that counts. Every foot you're away from that 10,000 feet costs you points. A lot of teams would do this with sort of a trial and error. They'd build their rocket, they'd put an engine on it, they'd launch it. If it didn't go high enough, they'd put a bigger engine on it. If it went too high, they'd put some ballast in it to keep it, have it come down further. Or they would do this in simulation to try to test out what they would get. Our team wants to use air brakes, so they want to sense altitude and velocity and acceleration and say, okay, I'm going to overshoot. So, if you will, pump the brakes, man. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit and slow myself down until I think, okay, I'm about to hit it, and then I'm good, and then hopefully hit that 10,000 feet pretty darn close. So it's ambitious, but I'm all behind them doing it. And then another team is the Crew Aeronautics team, or we call them CAT, founded back in 2006. They have about 20 active members. They respond to the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics Design Build Fly competition. So at the beginning of the school year, AIAA puts out the missions, if you will, the mission scenarios. They change from anywhere from military to passenger, depending on who's sponsoring the program that year. This team, has done some really good work, built some really cool planes. They've all flown, but most of them have crashed just before competition. Somehow, every year, it's not one thing, it's another, and it just is but they come back the next year and build another plane. Finally, though, in 2008, they actually kept the plane together long enough to get its competition, score some points, and we were really excited for this year to do it again. But then again, of course, the competition has been probably canceled. So here's some pictures from previous years, some of the difference. And every year, the missions change every year, and sometimes they throw in cute little wrinkles like. Last year, I think the wings were supposed to fold up. Well, they didn't have to fold up, but you had to be able to put the plane in a frontal profile of a 3-foot square, 3 foot by 3 foot square. But there was no way you were going to fly and accomplish the missions with a 3-foot wingspan. So your wings had to fold up somehow or telescope in. I think we decided to go with folding. So it's very, very challenging stuff. And you can see here one year where they had sort of competing missions. One mission you had to have the wiffle balls in the belly of the plane. The other mission you had to have the wooden block up more than the passenger compartment of the plane. Of course, this changes the mass of the plane, changes the location of the center of gravity, and so it makes it difficult to have a plane that is controllable under both of those circumstances. But they did. So in addition to being an excellent experience for getting hands-on experience, so when it's time to go get a job, when you're in an interview, if you run a design team, that is what you're going to talk about. If you co-opt, that is what you're going to talk about. If you do an internship, that is what you're going to talk about. So in addition to being an excellent resume builder and a chance to, get your hands on and do some real work, these teams are a lot of fun. All the teams, they all bond together. Each team bonds a lot. So when they're not working on the plane, they're probably somewhere watching a movie together or studying together or something like that. So here's one of the CAT teams.
Design, build, fly.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the design, build, fly, the crew aeronautics team down at the Dayton Air and Space Museum down at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton. So they also go to the Cleveland Air Show some Labor Day weekend usually.
I want to point out that Dr. Bachman is the advisor for the Robotics Club, the Baja Club. He also advises the Rocket Club and the Design, Build, Fly team as well on mechanical stuff.
Yeah, unofficially on the last two, but yeah, if they have questions about mechanical, they usually come to me.
They always come to Dr. Bachman. So this is the autonomous lawnmower. This was actually, all right, so you remember in the very first slide, you saw Dexter, the autonomous car, which is down in a museum. Well, local company, MTD, which makes Cub Cadet and Troy-Bilt and various other brands. Anyway, one of their people saw Dexter, the autonomous car. It was quite the big news in the region. So he saw that and he thought, why don't we do an autonomous lawnmower for the company? And that's what this is about. So turns out there was a competition, again, a competition. It was in Dayton, and so we started competing in 2008, and you see we won in 2009, 10, and 11. And you see there's the lawnmower, the autonomous lawnmower, and there's a picket fence. What they do is they give you an irregular area to mow, and you lose points if you mow outside. You lose points if you don't mow the whole area. There's also picket fence in a right angle formation and picket fence, and of course you're not supposed to damage the picket fence. You are supposed to edge it. And then they have this stuffed dog, as you see here, sitting on an RC car, and they run that out in front of the lawnmower while it's doing its job. So the idea is, if you run over the puppy, that would be bad. So our lawnmower actually would just edge the puppy instead of stopping, which was actually okay in terms of the rules. Here's the autonomous snowplow competition. This one is held in Minnesota and Minneapolis in January, typically minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. You see everybody all bundled up there. You won't see me because I can't seem to manage to get there. I was always at the lawnmower competition in Dayton in the nice sunny weather. But of course, I say that's because the lawnmower competition was in May after school. In January, I'm in school, so I choose not to go to the frigid north. So anyway, what you see here is that there's a big fellow there standing there watching. This is again an autonomous vehicle pushing snow. I see the big fellow there. He actually works at MTD, the company I just mentioned about the lawnmower. So MTD continues to support these competitions. And what you see here is we actually won in 2017 and in 2019.
To be clear, the big guy in the hat, he got a job at MTD for his work, because of his work on the, was it on the snowplow or the lawnmower?
It was on the snowplow, yes.
Okay. So he started on the lawnmower, got a job at MTD, but was continuing to do his, I think, later master's work here, correct?
Yeah, they basically paid his way for all his classes for his PhD, actually. So yeah, our students, again, it's not like they're getting paid a bunch of money to do this. They're happy when they get the funding to buy the stuff that they need to do, and they put in a whole lot of time, and they really enjoy it. And they come away with not just good memories, but good job skills. And now we have Design for America, which is also a club-like activity. There's a student office in ThinkBox, the building ThinkBox.
This is a design team where the projects are a little smaller and the groups are smaller. It can be anywhere from a group of one, which is not really a group, I guess, but anywhere from a group of 1 to say 4 or 5. And again, the projects are smaller, but they're specifically designed, they're specifically in response to someone's particular need. Okay, so this is as I said, user-centered. It's very, the goal here is to help somebody who possibly has a handicap or some other issue where they need some device modified or even built and designed and built that can help them do some activity of daily living or improve their quality of life. And our the Design for America students address that. They respond to that.
And notice there's a CIA there. That's actually Cleveland Institute of Art, not the intelligence agency.
Right.
So we have a well-respected, well-known, right here in what we call University Circle, which includes Case Western Reserve University. It also includes multiple museums. There's a third largest VA hospital in the country here. There's also Cleveland Institute of Art. There's
Cleveland Institute of Music.
Cleveland Institute of Music. Oh, let's not forget where the orchestra plays.
And that's where the orchestra, correct. Somewhere else the CIA, Cleveland Institute of Art, shows up that we forgot to mention was in ThinkFox. One of the what do I want to say? One of the services they offer is they actually have CIA students who work there and volunteer there to help with the sort of the industrial design or the ergonomics, the user friendliness, if you will, of your whatever item you're trying to design. So it doesn't just you make sure it functions well. They probably are more attuned to think about how people are going to respond to it, make it look good, if you will, as well as function well, so will appeal to people. So
something that I told you about the VA being to the north of us, just to the east of us is University Hospitals, and that we can get there in a couple of minute walk. And to the west of us is Cleveland Clinic, one of the biggest hospitals in the country. So what we have here is you put all that together and you actually have this incredible region or area where it's you find the learning and the arts.
It's really the educational and cultural center of Cleveland. It truly is.